Welcome everybody. Maybe, let's see. Maybe we can do just a pretty short settling meditation just to arrive, kind of let go of what we've been doing, and then we just open with the Refuge Prayer, and then begin.
Did you want me to share the screen for the prayers?
I haven't queued up on mine. Yeah, I'll go ahead and share them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks though. Appreciate it. Thanks. And the audio is okay? My voice is good? Okay. Yeah, since we're just kind of settling in, if you like one nice relaxation breath technique is to take a full, slow, mindful breath in through your nose. Once you've taken a full breath, holding it for a few moments, and then slowly exhaling through the mouth as if you're blowing through a fine straw. And you can slowly repeat this 3, 4, 5 times if you like, if it's helpful. And when you're ready, just take on a natural breath. And once you've taken a natural breath, be helpful to maybe tune in or become aware of the sensations throughout the body. Just noticing your body on your seat, the weight of your body in space, maybe the texture of your clothes touching your skin. The temperature of the air. And seeing the movement of your breath in your body. Allowing the exhales to help the process of relaxation. Giving ourselves permission or space to just drop what we've been thinking about or doing. Just be sitting and breathing. Noticing the flow of sensation or experience. And then before we start, if we can just check in and connect with a sense of intention, quality of intention. Bringing to mind what kind of drew us or motivated us to come here tonight to explore these teachings. Maybe connecting with the quality of compassion or kindness toward ourselves and all beings in this world. As an attempt for exploring and discussing the teachings tonight so that we can kind of develop or grow our kindness, our insight, our inner peace, our love. Then we'll do the traditional expression of this intention if you like. It's the Refuge and Buddhadharma prayer. Welcome to join along. We'll recite this twice in Tibetan and once in English. Sangye chodang soki chodama chanchu badu dagni kyapsu chui dagye chonye gibe sonamgi drola penje sangye drupasho sangye chodang sogi chodama chanchu badu dagni kyapsu chui dagye chonye gibe sonamgi drola benje sangye drupasho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. The merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. And then the four immeasurable thoughts. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May all beings be free of suffering and its causes. May all beings never be parted from pure joy. May all beings abide in equanimity, free from holding some close and others distant. Yeah, so welcome again. So this class is, I believe it's called the Precious Human Rebirth. And it's based off of, or rooted in Lamas Rinpoche's book, the same title. And yeah, so we have 4 weeks. The next 4 Sundays we'll explore this topic based on the book. Yeah. This, so this topic is in the kind of structured path, the lam-rim, the gradual stages of the path. At the beginning, and it's kind of a foundational kind of thought transformation or contemplation topic. And actually, it's interesting to see. I hadn't seen this kind of delineation before, but the way Lama Tsongkhapa kind of framed it, this topic of recognizing the kind of preciousness of our human life, this particular human life, and we'll talk about what that is, define that more clearly. Is the purpose is to persuade us to practice Dharma, so it's trying to turn our minds to the Dharma more and more, and really kind of devote or unify, or remember, or apply the Dharma as much as possible. So this is kind of the motivational force to kind of move us to practice and study and so forth. And then all the rest of the topics are then like the actual doing. So this is like the kind of motivator to apply the path, practice the path. And the rest of the topics from impermanence, karma, suffering, Four Noble Truths, bodhicitta, aspiration for awakening, emptiness, so forth. All that is the actual application based on that motivation. I thought that was interesting categorization or way of framing the topic. The book, Lama Zopa Rinpoche's book, starts off, and Rinpoche's shared this story a few times. He found himself watching a soccer match. I don't know where this was happening, but he was watching, I think it was a World Cup match some years ago. And, and Rinpoche describes it, he's like some men running around kicking a spherical object between two sticks. And then something happened, and everybody started screaming and jumping around and, and having this joy. And he found it quite bizarre. And so he gave this. I just want to read this comment. So he said, on the other hand, a real cause for excitement and happiness is simply having this human body. If we could truly understand even a tiny part of its value, we would have 1,000,000 times more reason for jumping in the air and shouting for joy the way those soccer fans do. Every day, every second, we should have a huge feeling of joy in our hearts. That what we have is this precious possession that gives us the opportunity to do whatever we want. With it, we can achieve anything we want to benefit ourselves and to benefit others. So that's kind of the kind of end goal of this kind of, like, if we have this realization of the preciousness of our context of our life, and the opportunity of the Dharma, and then the kind of end, the feeling that will dawn is this kind of joy, appreciation, and preciousness. So it's an interesting topic in that you can kind of go many different directions with it. So it's not saying that just being a human being is inherently, they use the word perfect or precious human life, human rebirth. It's being human and having certain kind of they call leisures or freedoms, and called richnesses or kind of resources. And so we look at like our potential. So we can look at the teachings on Buddha nature. And traditionally we'd look, so the leisures or the freedoms are the freedoms from kind of extreme states of like obstacles or suffering. And so traditionally, the 8 freedoms look within a context, the Buddhist kind of universe of beings, not just animals and humans, but beings with a mind that are born as ghosts or spirits, beings with a mind that are born in very kind of hellish states. Beings who are very deep meditators who have created like very powerful karma where they don't actually their life form is just like a mental bliss, where they call it the God realm. So these beings, where it's just, it could be beings who train in a very deep meditation but haven't penetrated selflessness, so they've cultivated kind of a mental bliss that's kind of more of a it's like a trance state or something like that, where it's just the power of their meditation propels them into this kind of experience or state after their death, like the karmic kind of the tendency, the power of the tendency and the habit. So there's this kind of teaching on the 6 realms, and kind of the gist of it, or the benefit of a human condition, is that we have a nice mix. Like, we're not totally blissed out. We have aches and pains, we have problems, we have traffic jams, we have bills, we have sicknesses. There's enough kind of it's not too extreme one way or the other for some humans. So some humans, they are actually very extreme states, but for humans that are kind of relatively safe, relatively healthy, relatively comfortable, the Buddhist tradition sees as this the most favorable condition because of suffering, basically, or pain. Like the benefits of our problems. We can develop suffering or discontent or emotional pain, whatever kind of, however you want to phrase it, gives us that opportunity to develop compassion. And compassion towards itself leads to, or can lead to, at its depth, this kind of wish to be free, like completely free. And it also helps us develop compassion outwardly towards other beings. I can phrase it that way. And then also it can help us, just the lack of distractions can help us turn our mind towards the Dharma, which is the kind of point of this topic. Invest our energy and our life into living a deep life, living a happy life, living a mindful life, living an investigative life, exploring the kind of nature of reality, exploring the nature of the self in our experience, and kind of penetrate the illusion of samsara, or kind of the illusion of the uninvestigated life, just kind of really getting to see what's going on. So the fact that a human life that isn't kind of under extreme conditions or extreme suffering is the ideal, because it's not too much one way or the other. So we have faculties, we have intelligence, we have comfort and well-being that we can use that can be suitable for practice. So when we do practices, we also kind of do that in the same way. We kind of simplify our life, but we also don't put ourselves in a torture chamber. We don't do this necessarily. Go into a spa can be nice, actually. There's a nice Robert Thurman has a retreat center, and they have like a nice kind of spa area as well as like a Dharma area. It could be helpful. But when we do kind of Dharma practice, it's comfortable, but it's simple. So there's that balance to where we can start to turn inward and actually work with the mind itself instead of just being fixated on kind of shifting external conditions constantly, or shifting our internal conditions in a way that's not. It's the kind of same way that we do external things. So the kind of very old kind of traditional freedom. So being a ghost, hell being animal, long life God, being in a place where there hasn't been a Buddha that's kind of brought the teachings, freedom not being born as a barbarian, it's translated a fool or a heretic. Got a heavy language. But that does talk to one other thing, is that there's a fortune of actually being interested in teachings on compassion, interested in the teachings, interested in the Dharma. That boon, that kind of richness or kind of quality. So we haven't been too swayed by the world, like by the advertising and kind of maybe cultural traditions and capitalism or whatever, consumerism, into kind of worldviews that just make us invest our energy and time into things that kind of run us into the ground. So, and I find that can be a nice topic sometimes to kind of lower the bar in practice. Personally, for me, like a kind of perfectionistic tendency where, Dharma can be a kind of you can bring that kind of work ethic into practice or whatever, and just kind of feeling, oh, good, at least I'm just into it. At least I'm drawn to it. And, I feel a bit of happiness that I'm trying and kind of directing my mind towards something that actually is healthy and sane, that can be helpful. And so then the 10 richness is the kind of resources. So it's being in a place where there's Dharma being practiced, that there's teachings available. That they're actually still being embodied. So that's the living wisdom tradition still there. We can receive it from other human beings and practice it with Sangha and so forth. And then have the conditions to apply. So we have the conditions to give the time and capacity to practice, study, and so forth. So these kind of eight the 8 freedoms and 10 richnesses, resources, kind of the foundational contemplation. And this contemplation can be a meditation on compassion, Lamas Rinpoche was saying, because we have to think about the conditions of others and see how other beings are in more suffering situations where they don't have opportunity to practice Dharma, or they're too overwhelmed by pain or this sensation, or maybe there's just lack of opportunity or different freedoms and so forth to be able to have access to suitable environments and resources. Um, yeah. Trying to really get a heartfelt motivation. So how do we, kind of strengthen our enthusiasm for studying? It sounds like we're actually it's pretty quite strong in this group. So quite good. The compassion side of it, seeing that we might be more well off than other beings in a way, and so the more cultivation that we can muster in our lives, the better. As like our contribution to the world and to others and to ourselves. And Rinpoche, says his quote, "It's time to have big thoughts, huge thoughts. It's time to make vast plans, to lay out the immense project ahead of us and feel happy that we can achieve our goal of developing ourselves to our ultimate potential. We have the perfect role models in the Buddha and numberless great yogins who followed, as well as the precious teachers who had the fortune to be able to take teachings and gain inspiration from. And we know that we have exactly the same potential as they do. Shakyamuni was once exactly like us. His Holiness Dalai Lama was once exactly like us. So in turn, we can become exactly like them. And all the conditions are there. What we need now is the determination to do it." One thing I heard about the compassion practice or compassion training I heard this week that struck me was kind of a foundational step of equalizing ourselves, or the all in the same boat recognition. Seeing that we're all in the same boat, in order to help get rid of this feeling or sense or kind of framing of there's a giver of compassion and a receiver of compassion. Like, I'm the giver of compassion, this is the recipient of the compassion, which can kind of be dualistic, and there may be like a top-down kind of quality to it. And so the equalizing, kind of first step of equalizing, that kind of we're all in the same boat, it kind of removes that duality. So there's just compassion, compassion happening. You could almost say, like, there's not this kind of, does that make sense? There's almost like it's hard to know where the compassion's coming from in a way. Like, we're feeling compassion, but it's based on the other being. So there's a bit of a kind of I don't know, co-creation, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. But one of the reasons I bring it up is that there can be a way of co-opting this topic of like, oh, I've found the Dharma, like pride or some sort of fundamentalism or some sort of, elitism that can come from this contemplation that you kind of be watchful for. So there isn't like, we're not necessarily better than anyone over and over. But So one of my friends from my Tripa college, who's a chaplain who did the Buddhist chaplaincy program in Portland, I asked him how it was going because he'd been chaplain now for a few years, and yeah, he was saying like he's found that just being present to people, like he doesn't really necessarily have to do a lot or talk a lot. I think I asked him like, you've seen a lot of Buddhists, or like what's the makeup, like how is it kind of working out? And he's like, yeah, it's more just being present for people, and that kind of he's found that's what really is healing or beneficial, or that he's seen that they respond to. Not even so much he's even doing anything. So there isn't like a compassionate savior or whatever kind of thing going on. Yeah. And then, so then there's the other side of it, of the potential part. Potential kind of comes up a lot in the Buddhist teachings. Because it's not apparent. It's one of those, I don't know if I've talked about it, Lou and Susan before. But there's one kind of scholarly category I really like. It's like very practical. They call apparent phenomena, slightly hidden phenomena, and extremely hidden phenomena. And apparent phenomena is like what we can see, hear, smell, like what's apparent to us without any effort, like it's right in front of our nose. Slightly hidden phenomena is something that we can like infer or logically come to trust is true without any faith or intermediary. So the common example, I don't want fires have been, but when if there's smoke, there's fire. Like I can't see the fire, but I see smoke, so I can deduce that there's fire. So because I know the laws of what creates smoke, I see smoke, and then I don't need somebody to tell me that there was combustion happening. At least there's some sort of fire, something happening. So I can't see the fire directly, but I can have a very valid inference that that's true. And so in two when we say laws or aspects, whatever, that fall under the slightly hidden phenomena are subtle impermanence. So this computer, this room, tree, it's decaying, it's impermanent, it's changing moment to moment. Like Kodo was, the atoms, like, there's a subtle momentary change, that we know is occurring because we have science to back it up, and we know long-term things will eventually deconstruct and decay and so forth, but we can't necessarily see it. So subtle impermanence isn't it something that we can infer as it true. So we don't need to take that on faith. We know that that's true, even though I can't perceive it directly right now. And the other one is emptiness. So teaching that things lack a findable fixed essence that's somewhere locatable, permanent, truly real, can be established. The fact that all phenomena lack that, we can logically deduce, we can come to accept and realize very clearly and strongly that that's a truth, even though it might not be apparent to us. So those two aspects of reality are very powerful truths that we can develop confidence and faith in, and our kind of alignment with our more that we can experientially align ourselves with that and conceptually align ourselves with that, the more free we will become, emotionally healthy, centered, balanced, free, um, uh, flexible, joyful, and so forth. Yeah, and I find it very powerful because we can have that faith and confidence in that, but it's not like something I just like, yeah, that person's really cool and I trust them, so I'm going with it. Kind of thing that it is something that we don't have to take a leap on. We can discover, and then from the Buddhist point of view, in Buddhist psychology, the experience of subtle impermanence and emptiness can be directly experienced eventually over time with work and effort, or with practice, familiarization, meditation, contemplation, study, so forth. Those that nature of reality can be experienced directly. And then the last category is extremely hidden phenomena, and this is the kind of subtle cause and effect. And extremely hidden phenomena is, from the Buddhist tradition, we say it's only perceivable by enlightened beings, so beings who have totally awakened can see the relativity and subtle cause and effect of the past, infinitely in the past, infinitely in the future. There's no hindrance or boundary of time, space, or perception. There's no obscurations in that way. And they also are the only ones that can verify if somebody else is fully enlightened as well. They say only Buddhas can see if somebody else is a Buddha, because they're completely free of obscurations. There's no hindrance to perception. Whereas even bodhisattvas, they say, have some perceptual kind of blocks, very subtle, um, that are still getting kind of burned out or purified. And so those subtle karmic cause and effect and enlightened being, those are kind of things that we do have to kind of take a leap on, kind of just kind of trust that maybe it's true. So if we want to, if we choose so. Because there's no way to deduce that through a logical inference or experience that until we, yeah. So So looking at the Buddhist teachings on the nature of mind, the potential of mind, and emptiness is the kind of the source of where we find the human potential. And this differs from Western psychology because we don't have the experience or contemplative experience developed yet enough internally in this culture to that we're not to verify the kind of nature of awareness and its capacity to be aware without a sense of kind of ego structure, I guess you could say, or sense of ownership even. Like Carl Jung had a pretty amazing psychology, developed an incredible map of human life and potential, but he couldn't accept the concept of being fully awakened. Like he believed that the self was actually naturally kind of drawn to discover itself, or it's naturally drawn towards wholeness. Just very much a flavor of Buddha nature teachings, like most schools of Buddhism, or at least Mahayana schools of Buddhism. The Buddha nature has this kind of quality of it's going to wake up at some point. Like we're going to eventually wake up. Like it's drawn to awakening. But he didn't believe that it was possible to have this kind of experience of selflessness. You feel like we just wouldn't be able to function. But the yogic traditions, the contemplative traditions, I was hearing Father Thomas Keating, a great contemplative monk, passed away a few years ago from the Catholic tradition. He was describing his meditation experience, and it sounded like emptiness, selflessness. He was talking about there's this kind of, I don't remember the words he used, but it was a beautiful, like 3 or 4 minute interview clip that I was like, that's yeah, sounds much like other meditation traditions. Yeah, at some point the mind quiets, the clarity comes. The transience is apparent. The kind of the non-locatable, the non-finding of thingness is apparent. I've been with my mind my whole life, if not longer, and I still can't find it. Myself, my body, like there's these constructs that I have in my mind that feel so real, but when I appear, I can't find them. When I actually stop and I'm able to balance my awareness and look, like they're not found. So the teachings on the nature of mind can be very powerful to develop inspiration of our potential. Can also be a basis of refuge, developing more refuge in the teachings, because we can find that experience in ourselves. Like Lou had kind of intuitive sense of just coming home, just hearing the Dharma from that experience with Venerable Rubina. Yeah, in one way, in this tradition, we use visualization and meditate on Buddha. We call meditational deities or Buddha deities, kind of manifestations or embodiments of these qualities in a kind of a human form. In the same way as the way to magnetize or draw out the qualities of love, compassion. And the deities, we imagine them as like a transparent light, almost like rainbow-like, as a way to start to help subtleize our awareness and mind, and help subtleize our energy in our body, to start to resonate and kind of bring about that experiential clarity and emptiness into our mind slowly. So it's almost like how we may have teachings through word form that we contemplate, like, okay, self, I'm looking at body, looking at mind, searching my bone, searching this, and so forth. The expression of emptiness, compassion, is being communicated through these kind of visualized forms of kind of insubstantiality, yet radiance, and they radiate qualities, but they're not graspable, kind of. And that actually helps kind of us, almost like pulls us or draws us towards that um, quality of mind and body and any slowly, slowly. Yeah, Susan? And Lama Yeshe said, you can really start to pick it up in retreat if you do a deity retreat, like if you do Compassion Buddha, Chenrezig retreat, where you're spending all day visualizing, reciting the mantra, which is also kind of helping the subtle nervous system kind of start to attune to that deity's kind of quality. He was like, you might be surprised one morning you're eating your muesli and your Chenrezig eating the muesli. Like it just feels like it's just kind of permeating you, really kind of enveloped. Yeah, and so it's just those qualities that are just kind of getting activated or awakened, kind of stirring in our kind of say unconscious or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. I guess any last questions? Maybe we can do just a short Buddha meditation. And I usually like to spend about a half hour, but we can do a short one. Okay. So just become a little bit comfortable. And you want to turn inward. Or however you start to kind of center and settle. Noticing the sensations in the body, the movement of the breath. You can bring to mind something that inspired you in our discussion tonight. Thinking about it in the context of helping ourselves cultivate this recognition or appreciation of our new potential and conditions of our lives to practice Dharma, or to continue to receive teachings, whatever is inspiring in your own language. From this energy of inspiration and space of awareness in front of you at the level of the forehead appears an 8-petaled white lotus. nature of light. And on the lotus appears the moon disk lying flat. The moon is a symbol of the bodhicitta, awakening heart. On the lotus and moon disk rises Shakyamuni Buddha. And the Buddha is radiant, golden in color, in the nature of light. And seated in the lotus posture, and wearing the saffron robes of a monk. And his left hand rests in his lap, holding a pagan bowl full of nectar. Symbolizing the blissful peace of his realization. And his right hand rests over his knee in a gesture of touching the earth. Symbolizing his confidence and awakened mind. And the Buddha smiles with narrow, compassionate eyes, gazing like a loving parent for their child. And seated within an aura of golden light. Most important is having a sense of the presence of the Buddha in the space, however we kind of understand. It can be a sense of radiant feeling of unconditional compassion and love, non-judgment. Radiant clarity, peace. It's like a sense of feeling held in the Buddha's loving presence or awareness. Recognizing the Buddha as a manifestation of our own inner Buddha nature. Contemplate too, Shakyamuni Buddha was in the essence of our own innate Buddha potential, and sevenfold from that of all Buddhas. It's the originator of the cycle of this teaching of the Dharma, embodiment of compassion and wisdom, a source of blessings and inspiration, and as our guide and protector, we go for refuge. Here we can make any personal requests if we want to heal or clear any obstacles. The obstacles to understanding, obstacles to practicing, emotional conditions, physical conditions, whatever is very present for us, and we need support. And the requests of strengthening qualities that we need to continue to develop on the path. And particularly here as well, strengthening our enthusiasm for the Dharma. And based on this request from the Buddha's heart, radiant golden nectar-like wisdom light, liquid light, wisdom energy begins to flow, comes to the crown of our head, sends down and begins to permeate every cell in our body. It's radiant golden love, bodhicitta, compassion. Flowing through us, clearing, healing, enriching, strengthening. And we begin to hear the sound of the mantra emanating from the Buddha's heart as the healing nectar continues to flow down through us. Tayata Om Ni Ma Mune So Tayata Om Ni Ma Mune So Tayata Om Ni Mahamudaya So Tayata Muni Mahamudaya So Tayata Muni Mahamudaya So Tayata Muni Mahamudaya So Tayata Muni Mahamudaya So. And then the Buddha comes to abide above the crown of our heads, facing the same direction as us. And melts into light and dissolves down through the crown of our head and into our heart. This light then permeates again throughout our body. We feel a sense of oneness with our body, energy, and mind, the Buddha. The nature of our body, energy, and mind, and the Buddha is the same. Feel a sense of oneness like a drop of water into the ocean. I feel like we can recite together a dedication. This is one of the Dalai Lama's favorite dedications. Shantideva prayer. May all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness, and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be free from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. And for long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. A very short practice, but thank you all very much. Thank you so much. Enjoyed our time.
Thank you, Justin.